For life.
Yeah. Bullet cast. What's going on? Stacy. This elite podcast in here. Ain't nobody better. Look. Yeah. Listen to us every time we live in the side. When you turn it on, it's just defining the mind. If you feel it, our opinions is great. When everything we moving now with the state, turn us on. If the feeling.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, the microphone messiah, joined by the current reigning and sometimes defending podcast champion, Brandon Tanguma. Second pod of the year. How you feeling, man?
Phillip doing okay. Just the two of us again.
Yes. It's become a regular occurrence. It's like the OG days at noon on a Thursday. What are we going back in time?
We just need the Chabot television station, and it's just like old days.
Right? No, well, those were on Thursdays, but no, those were Fridays. Yeah. I don't. We've recorded on every day of the week. I lost track of the days. Anyway, we are here to talk about some wrestling, so let's get into it. Roman Reigns attacks his challengers. There was a triple threat set on SmackDown. Orton, Styles, Knight, winner faces Roman at the Royal Rumble. Roman comes out there with a different energy, and I liked it, Flagged by Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso. They attack the challengers. Nick Aldis tells Paul Heyman, let him know he just earned himself a fatal four-way. So, at Royal Rumble in Tampa Bay, for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, Roman Reigns defends against Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if I expected a fatal four-way. I think, when we did the award show, I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be Randy Orton. That seems pretty cut and dry. But no, they're adding more star power to the, to this match. And I would assume Roman's going to win. It's just kind of a matter of who's going to take the pinfall. I like how they set it up, throughout SmackDown. Roman kind of blew off the question about The Rock, and he's like, nonchalant about it. But then we get the Paul Heyman promo later where he just kind of is firing arrows at everybody who's been kind of coming after Roman. And, Paul selling a little bit of The Rock, but, we're not full steam ahead yet. We don't know when that's going to happen, whether Rock makes a surprise appearance at the Rumble. He's in the Rumble. He just shows up on a SmackDown, challenges him to Elimination Chamber, however that's going to happen. But there's enough hints now at this point that I feel like it's going to happen.
Look. Quite a few things. I'm on the internet, as are you. We've seen, this is a great way to get the title off of Roman, and Cody can, challenge somebody else and finish the story, and Rock and Roman are going to do it in Australia. Look, big matches have happened at non-WrestleMania pay-per-views, hence the first time Roman wrestled John Cena was at No Mercy in September. Look, this guy has not been champion for over 1,200 days for this to end in a fatal four-way in Tampa, Florida. That's not what's happening here. And I like the fatal four-way. It's different. Matter of fact, the only time Roman has defended the title in this run in a multi-man match, what did he do? Stacked Edge and Daniel Bryan on top of each other. So I damn near guarantee I would not be surprised if Roman Reigns stacks Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight, on top of each other. Then we can have a contract signing or whatever in Perth, Australia at the Elimination Chamber. And then, of course, we are going to WrestleMania 40 with the biggest match that you can possibly do. The biggest movie star in the world versus the current biggest wrestling star in the world. It is for a multitude of things. For the head of the table, for the head of the Anoa'i Samoan dynasty. And not only that, the title needs to be on the line with it too. That people say it doesn't need the title. It does. Because that also symbols the head of the company. Like, you're the guy. Are you kidding me? Like, I can see the promos now. Roman talked about how, man, we're doing billion-dollar business. This company just got sold for $9.3 billion. Why? Because I'm the champ. This didn't happen when you were here, when you were on your run. I can see it. It's fantastic. WrestleMania 40 is going to be special, man. And another thing, once this happens, Rock is going to be the only person in history to have faced every face of the generation at WrestleMania. 18, he faced Hogan. Hogan's the face of the golden era. 15, 17, and 19. Stone Cold's the face of the Attitude Era. 28 and 29. John Cena, the face of the Ruthless Aggression PG era. Now at 40, Roman Reigns. I mean, the 2016-17 era, they call it that like the reality era. I like to call it today the Renaissance era because wrestling's having a renaissance. It's booming. WrestleMania 40, he faces Roman Reigns in the main event, the guy who's the face of the reality and renaissance era.
Like, can't wait for him to face, I don't even, Braun Breaker at WrestleMania 50.
Yes, the face of the 2.0 era.
It's going to be so great. Can't wait for that to happen. But now,
yeah,
I mean, it's a good problem for WWE to have. I mean, you got, Punk, Cody, The Rock. You got all these, stars kind of vying for that top spot at WrestleMania. Yeah, I talked about it possibly being at the Elimination Chamber. I think I've kind of come more around to it being at WrestleMania. It kind of has to be at WrestleMania. And, Cody's still going to be the one to win that championship. And I think he'll do it at WrestleMania. I don't know, if it's going to be one night. I don't know. WWE's in a great spot right now. Rock and Roman is by far the biggest match they can put on. You could put it on another show if you want because it is that big, but to make it even bigger, you put it on WrestleMania, and I think that's what they're going to do.
Absolutely. I mean, this is about to be the highest grossing WrestleMania of all time. This is about to be the biggest. This is the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. Now, I know for some people it doesn't eclipse like Hogan, Andre, and what when Rock wrestled Hogan and all those other things. But man, this is the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. You do it, Rock. This is his true final match, and Roman, he just becomes bigger. Like the beating the Rock gets absorbed into his orbit and the championship. Therefore, whoever beats him for that title gets made, truly made, massive. I've been talking about this for months, guys, for what, a year? A year or so? Whoever beats Roman Reigns gets the rub of all rubs. They beat the guy who ended the streak. It is a 10-year-long rub that is going to be absorbed into that championship, into that title win. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. And, I mean, I've been talking about him beating Hogan's record. I think they're supposed to be doing a celebration of Hulkamania or something.
Well, is it coming up? Well, WrestleMania 40. I don't know. Is it like, are they doing like a 40-year Hulkamania thing? I
don't something like that. I can see Roman just crashing the party. I can see that happening. Like I'm gonna, whenever it happens, like I'm gonna beat your record. I'm the new greatest of all time. I can see all these things happening, man. We're in such an exciting time. Rumble season, Mania season. It's all fun. I love it. Love it.
I do wonder how this. We keep saying, oh, this is the biggest match they can put on, but I mean, it's the biggest match like in terms of like wrestling fans and stuff. Wrestling has in some parts become more mainstream than it's been in a while, but then it's also super segregated and it's kind of its own little bubble. I do wonder how a Rock Roman match would like be perceived to people outside the company. Because like, I don't know. I feel like when John Cena was in his heyday back, 15 years ago, he was kind of a little bit more of a cultural thing than Roman is. Like Roman is a big star. Don't get me wrong in the wrestling world, but I just don't know if he kind of has that like cross
I don't know, man.
Like, aura that like the John Cena Rock match had at 28.
I mean, we've seen Rock. I mean, or Roman over the course of this title run. All the appearances on Jimmy Fallon, the Stephen A. appearance, where when they awarded him the gold title, he had the gold title on the table. Paul Heyman was still holding the blue and the black one. You know what I'm saying? Like it.
He's like he's doing the media appearances, but like you don't see football players or whoever like throwing a one up or doing whatever Roman's like thing is. Like Roman doesn't really have a thing, which is kind of hard to, this is why it might be hard to gauge what his thing is. Cause like, you can see people do the, you can't see me for John Cena and like all that other stuff. And, Aaron Rodgers belt celebration is, kind of a wrestling thing. So I don't know. I just wonder how
it's kind of hard to
Roman kind of translates to the sports entertainment world.
Yeah, I mean, Roman doesn't have a thing unless guys are, loading the fist up or something, but he really doesn't even do that anymore. So I think Roman has transcended into the mainstream. And I mean, this is going to do a ton of press. This is going to do a ton of press. It's going to be It's going to be massive. It truly is. And I'm excited for it. I really am. Moving on, the AOP have finally returned. The rumors have been actually, I think the rumors were going around like middle or early 2023 that they had re-signed and just nothing was being done with them. Well, they've joined Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I guess not Scarlett Bordeaux, just Scarlett. Paul Ellering has returned with them. They attacked the Street Profits and Lashley, and apparently the Street Profits and Lashley, their tag team name is going to be the Pride. This is what I hear. I don't know how true this is.
I don't know. I haven't really heard anything about that, but AOP, like you said, it feels like they've been like signed to the company for like 2 years now. At this point, we're just kind of waiting for them to do something if they are actually with the company and they, showed up with Karrion Kross. I was kind of a fan of Cross, like back in his TNA days when he signed. I was like, okay, maybe he has something. And I don't know if it's just him or just the way he's been portrayed because he's kind of had so many stop and start pushes in his WWE career. I would say this is probably his last opportunity. And I think if they kind of treat him properly and they kind of, push him seriously, I do have some faith that Karrion Kross could get something out of this. I just think it kind of does come down to like the in-ring thing. I think the character work is going to be fine. I just don't know how it's going to translate to, some of his matches in the ring.
I mean, we shall see. I mean, Karrion Kross. I mean, he's a fine in ring talent. Yeah, he has lost that. He did have like an aura about him. He did. I don't. It's been lost, but maybe this is the way we gain it back. The bird of prey. And Lashley and the Street Profits could be his first set of prey. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm intrigued by it. I mean, we have to let it play out. We have to see what's going to happen. But this is nice. Akam and Razor are back. I loved AOP. They were great down in NXT. Great tag team. And
that failed COVID promotion. Where were they? They weren't going to like
they were
Israel. Where were they were supposed? No, was it Australia? They were supposed to run some
yeah.
super show in like 2021, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be so big. It was like all the cut WWE people, and there was like Goldberg and whoever, and it just never happened.
It did not.
It was a fire fest of wrestling.
Yes. Moving on from that. Outside the ring, Tony Khan. Look, this has caused some controversy. Eric Bischoff is tweeting at him, and I see other people commenting on this. Look, I hope
the man needs to get off Twitter.
Yeah, I hope he's working. I pray to God that he's working. I mean, he got Jinder over. I mean, we're going to talk about what Jinder is about to be doing. But what are we doing, bro? Like, come on, man. Like, why? Why are you doing this? The Twitter exchange with him and like, who the F is Hook? I thought that was funny. I popped at that. And then shout out to Tony Khan for a couple days later to have Hook do what he did on Dynamite and stand in the ring with the champ. I thought that was good. But yeah, like Tony Khan, I don't know what you're doing, brother. Let's stop.
I mean, this has been a recurring issue with Tony Khan, throughout AEW. And I think like at first it was kind of cute. It was like, oh, okay, we have the owner of AEW kind of clapping back and, tweeting and, being a presence on social media. But, AEW was hot for like 2019 to 2022. And then now AEW is kind of, they're in a low period right now. And there's a lot of trolls out there. I mean, Twitter X, it's its own, fiasco thing that's going on right now. And
let me ask you this. Did Dynamite kind of feel like a little reset?
Yeah. I mean, we're coming out, second week back of a new champion on a pay-per-view, new year. I quite enjoyed Dynamite. I thought it was, there was nothing super spectacular about it, but it did kind of feel like a fresh new, Tony even said it. He wants to get back to like that sports like feel. I think that is kind of what they lost in 2023.
Yeah.
And I harp on the Adam Cole MJF stuff, but there was other stuff that kind of was the worst of WWE back in the day, and now WWE's not doing that stuff anymore. So it's kind of like, oh, why are you doing this? But going back to the Tony Khan thing, it's not a good look. You're feeding into the trolls. It's I don't know if it's like a generational thing or like a mental thing, but
I mean, to be fair, like Eric Bischoff did the same thing, but he did it live on television. Like if that.
But what Eric Bischoff was doing, he was going after the Monolith, his rival. He's not going after WWE fan 2567
No, yeah,
who's
yeah, yeah,
trolling
yeah,
him
yeah.
on Twitter who has like 2 followers.
I'm saying like kind of the head of a company going after like people. It's been done. It's just Eric Bischoff did it on national television, where Tony Khan is just going after specific random people for no reason, getting into petty little internet
And
arguments.
and I know like people behind the scenes like in AEW hate this. They don't like it. Like Tony Khan has not had a good couple weeks, even dating back to the World's End pay-per-view where the whole Chris Jericho stuff was happening and people asked him a question. And when he was answering a very serious question about, the safety of his women workers, he's wearing Tony Storm's furry hat and glasses. Like, read the room, buddy. Like, what are you doing? He just seems kind of oblivious and like in his own little world.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just don't know if there's like the checks and balances or someone who can, well, check him on these things and just be like,
Keep
look,
keep it on
what
the
are you
A
doing? Stop it.
keep it on the AEW front. Ed Adam Copeland, sorry, was on Busted Open, and he was talking about his match with the Griff Garrison that I guess he had on Collision. And people have been criticizing. Okay, he just went to AEW to wrestle, Joe Bears or whatever. Adam Copeland had a great response. He was like, "Well, if he can learn more in 5 minutes being in the ring with me than he can learn from wrestling 200 matches against guys of the similar experience." And I was like, "Okay, I like that." Go back to truly help the young a different set of younger guys and build them up. And he did that with your boy Preston Vance on Dynamite. We're gonna talk about that. But yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Lee Fitting has taken over the place of Kevin Dunn. He had worked for ESPN. Now he's the new head honcho in the production of WWE.
You know, Curious to see what he does in that role. WWE the past couple weeks, maybe some like little changes, maybe not as many herky jerky camera cuts all the time. That's kind of synonymous with Kevin Dunn.
That's to
I
protect
thought
the
the
business.
I thought the day one paper or almost, I mean, kind of felt like a pay-per-view with all the kind of matches they had on there, but I like the video packages, kind of explaining what's been going on, similar to what they do on pay-per-view. So maybe some like little things here and there. I very much enjoyed the NXT, golden era production style that they had. I'm not saying they're going to go to that, but if that's kind of more of Triple H's vision, I would very much think that's a positive for the company.
Yes, yes, yes. Inside the ring, Wrestle Kingdom 18 happened. A lot of stuff. The most notable thing, the former Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, showed up with his brother watching the tag title match, and then recreates the scene of when the guy jumps over at the judge. He did that to David Finlay, and I guess he wants the new global heavyweight title.
Seems that way. I think, Nick Nemeth being in New Japan is a good fit for him. I feel like there'd be like a little bit of a stink on him if he were to go to an AEW or a TNA. So I think New Japan is kind of the perfect fit for him. He can have some good matches, work on his character. I know he's dropped some like vignettes and some videos and stuff, so I don't know exactly what he's going for. I know he's always like kind of the 80s guy, so maybe that he's going to go
He's
down that route.
the most wanted.
But yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see what a Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth can do outside of WWE. We've seen the likes of Matt Cardona. Think he's this certain wrestler, this kind of cartoonized wrestler, evolve into something that he is today. So maybe Nick Nemeth can kind of go down that route, and he's bringing his brother along. He's just a very low guy on the AEW totem pole, and maybe he kind of pulls him up with him, and maybe he can do something. But
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah, Nemeth was on Busted Open, and he talked about how he'd been wanting to leave WWE for apparently quite a while. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I'm going to throw this out there. TNA has been introducing their new title belt championships. Well, what are your thoughts?
yeah, well, new quote unquote company, so there's gonna be a rebrand and things of that nature. You thought maybe they were just gonna dust off the old like TNA titles, but no, we're getting some upgrades and some different looks.
Yes, 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 yes. Obafemi has won the NXT North American title, cashed in his breakout tournament contract on Dragon Lee. Congrats to him. This
Yeah,
that title is for African American talent. Huh? I mean, that's who predominantly has won it.
Yeah. It was supposed to go to Wesley apparently, but he had his injury, so he couldn't get it. So, Dragon Lee stepped in and kind of filled that role. So not too much of a shocker that Dragon Lee was much more of a, transitional champion, and Obafemi, cashes in, and he's the new champion now. So let's see what he does with it.
Yes, absolutely. No fan mail this week is going to Monday Night Raw. CM Punk interrupts Drew McIntyre's promo, and is Drew not a heel anymore? Like this was pretty babyface. You treated me wrong and this and that. Maybe I should leave and for as long as you did and come back and get a spot. Like what's happening here?
Just Drew McIntyre continuing to be the heel who kind of speaks the truth, but kind of goes about it the snarky way.
I didn't get a heel vibe. Like I got like a true babyface vibe. I mean, I heard this on Cheap Heat. Should he have attacked CM Punk? Like when Punk was walking away, should he have just attacked him from behind?
I mean, he could have if you want to put that kind of heat on it, but I think saving Punk's physicality for the Royal Rumble is probably the best thing to do. You don't want to give away anything until that Royal Rumble. But Drew going against someone like Punk, who is widely popular at this point, they go back and forth, and people are going to naturally side with Punk, I do believe. And I very much enjoyed this promo. Drew had his piece. He, came across realistically. Punk, I forget if he even said like the real line, kind of like what I've been saying. We don't have happy Punk right now. He's going after the championship. He's trying to win matches, main event WrestleMania, and, be that guy. That wasn't really the guy we had at the beginning of his AEW run. We're getting that at the beginning of his new WWE run. And so I'm excited. And I thought it was just a good, straightforward kind of, Royal Rumble build for two guys who are presumably, favorites in that match.
Yes. Yeah, Punk saying when pushed, he is Satan himself. I was like, oh, okay. All right. But yeah, save Punk's physicality for the Royal Rumble. Jinder Mahal, you can't hinder the gender, man. I mean, if you have been listening to this show since the beginning, or when Jinder Mahal was WWE champion, y'all know I was so high on Jinder Mahal as the WWE champion. And look, you know what? Put the damn title on him next week. Put it on him next week. Do it. Let him end Seth's longest run as world champion. Let's do this.
Jinder and CM Punk at WrestleMania?
Brother.
That's the main event anywhere in the world.
Yes, it is. I love Jinder Mahal, man. I mean, the stock has risen. The Rock stuff, Tony Khan doing what he did on the internet, and now this. Next week, Seth Rollins, Jinder Mahal for the World Heavyweight title. What are your thoughts? They have history. Seth beat him to become the first NXT champion.
But what was the cage match rating?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to USA Network. That was great. That was fantastic.
That was another thing that was like, Tony, what are we doing? Like, he responded to an official USA account, and to my knowledge, AEW hasn't signed a contract with Warner Brothers yet. Now, a single tweet isn't just going to completely burn down a relationship with a company, but maybe you should stay away from, falling into those kinds of traps. But
who runs that account? Do we know?
I mean, it's probably some 20-something intern.
I want them on the show. I want to have a conversation with them. Let's find out. Let's see if we can find out.
With four or 3 people in that SmackDown title match, you're kind of taking away a lot of people out of the Royal Rumble who you would suspect would be in there. Not saying those other 3 guys can't pull double duty and be in there as well, but a lower level challenger as Jinder is. Sorry, Phillip, but it's nothing too high intense. You kind of would suspect Seth to win. I'm fine with it. Well, if, they're gonna have the match next week, but I would presume maybe something's gonna happen and we get a rematch at at Royal Rumble. So I think that's kind of where they're at. Don't want to pull another name out of the Royal Rumble and put it in a title match.
Indubitably. All right, Cody Rhodes finishes his story with Shinsuke Nakamura. It seems to be over. Shinsuke went for the mist. The timekeeper got the mist in the face. Yeah,
good match. I think this is something WWE's been good with the past couple of weeks, is they're kind of staggering out these, main event matches, the odd, there's no December pay-per-view, and now we're trying to fill time until we get to the Royal Rumble, and now we're 2 shows away, 2 Raws away from the Royal Rumble. So Cody could kind of more focus his sights on the Royal Rumble, and I thought it was a good match. Nothing too spectacular, kind of what we've seen from Shinsuke in his Seth Rollins matches on pay-per-view. And, Cody gets the win, kind of building him up after kind of been, stagnant the past few months, and, build him up into the Royal Rumble.
Indubitably, indubitably. All right, Nia and Rhea. Hmm? I mean, I'm here for it. The irresistible force versus the immovable object. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, with Nia beating Becky, attendance go up on. Okay, they're really pushing her,
Bro,
and
this is what you do. This is what you do. You have Nia Jax beat Rhea Ripley, not at WrestleMania, in Perth, Australia. You get that heat to rain down. Rain down. You have Becky win an Elimination Chamber. You have Becky get the comeuppance. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's probably not going to happen. So I can see, somehow we're going to get to Rhea versus Becky at WrestleMania, right? Right.
That seems like a natural progression. Judgment Day is doing their stuff with R-Truth. It feels like we're on the verge of a Judgment Day breakup like every week at this point. If you are looking to kind of turn Rhea heel, or turn her babyface rather, you don't really need to do anything because she's already kind of the most popular woman on the roster. But if you want to kind of do that against Nia in Perth at Elimination Chamber, I think that'd be a cool way to do it. Maybe they do it at the Royal Rumble as well, but this is, as I said, Nia beat Becky. I think she's going to get fed to Rhea, and then I don't think we're going to get that all the way to WrestleMania, but maybe we will. But I don't think we will.
We shall see. We shall see. All right. Ludwig Kaiser attacks Kofi Kingston brutally, getting that low angle drop kick straight into the steps. I like the continuity. Kofi would accidentally injured Vinci last week, so Kaiser intentionally injured Kofi this week. Good stuff.
It was an intense angle. I thought they kind of went a step too far, pun not intended. But I thought when he threw the announcer's chair at Kofi, I thought Kofi sold it beautifully, and they kind of had that kind of almost same moment with Vinci, where it's like, oh my God, he's hurt, like stay away from him. And I thought, okay, eye for an eye. He did that to Kofi. He definitely did that on purpose. He can't say what Kofi did. It was on accident, or just caught him flush. But then they went to the extra length of attacking him on the steps. I think they didn't need to do that. I think the chair attack was perfectly fine.
I think they did need to do that. I mean, he leveled up. I feel like Kaiser just leveled up.
But I think they had that kind of like, oh my God, like he did concuss him. Like it looked that legit that I think they could have just stopped there. But then once he takes it to that next level, and then he's like attacks him and throws him into the steps, like, okay, this is an angle, and kind of takes you out of that moment. That's what I'm saying.
Look, man, it looked vicious enough to where I was like, oh yeah, he gonna be out. He makes his return at the Royal Rumble, and he throws out Kaiser. Like that's how we're doing this. That's how Kofi's doing that. Or maybe I heard on Cheap Heat they said maybe Kaiser messes up Kofi's Rumble spot. That could be something. Nice little TV feud. Nice little TV feud.
And I mean, all the eyes are on Gunther and his title reign, but I think Kaiser is definitely someone who could be maybe not a main event player, but definitely kind of that next level down. And he has, he's a great talker, really good wrestler. He has the accent, and he kind of has bring something different to the table. And I think, with Gunther on paternity leave right now, Vinci out with, concussion, we can kind of focus on him a little bit. And I think heating him up before the Rumble and into WrestleMania, whatever he's doing, if that is going to be an attack match or whatever, I think should be good stuff.
Yes. Also, Ivar and Otis. Wow. Hell of a hoss fight. I mean, the springboard and the catch, beautifully done. I might have to break that out. The catch.
Haven't really realized how many like tag team guys are out right now and doing singles runs with Ivar. He's been doing the thing for the past couple months now, and it seems he's gonna be continuing to do so. But yeah, he's a really good wrestler. I just don't know with that character what the what the ceiling is. I feel like it's not that high.
Um, you never know. You never he could be I can see him as a champ. That's an IC champ eventually. I could see that happening.
We did have a Jey Uso promo, and he kind of talked about his New Year's resolution being, he wanted to be a champion. And I do wonder, I thought, like, is Jey Uso like the person to beat Gunther? Because I mean,
I've been saying it.
because we kind of say like,
Main
oh,
event.
you need to wait for the right person to beat Roman, which we kind of all assume is Cody. Lower level on Gunther's reign, but I think giving some legitimacy to Jay, who has been floundering a bit, since he's kind of moved on from that initial move to Raw. So I wonder if you kind of have him beat Gunther maybe at WrestleMania, but I know they kind of want to do the Jimmy J match at WrestleMania, so I don't know. I just feel like in right now, just looking at the landscape of Raw, I feel like Jay is probably the best person to beat Gunther for that title if you're trying to get it off of him relatively soon.
Yeah. AEW Hangman defeats Claudio Castagnoli. Notice Hangman has more of the mustache going than the beard. Kind of looked like the Butcher. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't notice that in the match itself, but I did notice that later on in the
In the
promo.
promo, yeah,
But I think it's a good look for him. Also, a certain one of his friends, two of his friends, also have more pronounced mustaches now. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. But the Hangman Claudio match I thought was really good. Started off Raw or whatever show this is, Dynamite, at
all
Daly's
elite
place.
Raw.
At Dynamite at Daly's Place, which I kind of forgot how like cool of a venue, how different of a venue Daly's Place is after being there for like a year and a half during
Yeah,
COVID. And I very much enjoyed it. I don't know how much of the wrestlers enjoyed it because it was like I guess 40 degrees outside, but
I mean,
uh,
they have the I know what WrestleMania 29 in New York. They had the heated ring. They didn't have that there.
I don't know what kind of heated ring budget AEW has, but this was a fantastic match. Hangman gets the win, kind of maybe well going to the promo later with Samoa Joe, kind of establishing maybe Hangman's in that main event title picture, so kind of giving him a little bit more of a boost, and I quite enjoy that. Tony Storm and Deanna Prasso had like separate backstage interviews, continuing on with the whole Mariah May Tony Storm thing, and they're gonna have some sort of like get together maybe next week. So kind of propelling Deanna Prasso already into the title scene, which I think is probably a good idea. Don't want to have her kind of mess around with the women's mid card division. Just kind of put her in the title scene and kind of see what happens.
Yes, or just have her hold the TBS title for what 500 days and have her leave the company.
Maybe. I mean, thus far the Tony Storm gimmick, people enjoy it. It's funny. She has her moments and stuff. But thus far in her two pay-per-view defenses, the feuds, and the matches kind of haven't like been all that great to what you would expect a Tony Storm title run to be. So hopefully, Deanna Prasso is the type of talent that could get something out of Tony, and maybe I just don't know about this character, honestly. Like it is entertaining, it's fun. I just don't know how people outside of that world could interact and kind of make it compelling. Just besides like, oh, haha, she's doing the 30-40s, starlet shtick.
Yeah, that is a thing. We shall see. Samoa Joe's promo. He said, no more of this whining. If the committee thinks you're suitable, then you can step up. Swerve comes out. Whose house? Swerve's house. Also saw the Pope D'Angelo De Niro, the former Elijah Burke, backstage at Dynamite. Love it, love it, love it. But Swerve comes out there, says his piece. Hangman comes out there, says his piece. And then, the hook signal was in the air. And Samoa Joe with the new AEW title with his own custom side plates.
Yeah, I did see that. I tried to look for a nameplate, no nameplate, so they were just ripping off WWE again and doing the side plates, and it's
I mean,
not
why
even
not do
like
both? Why not do both?
it's not even like a super customized Samoa Joe thing. It just says Samoa Joe.
Yeah, yeah. And then
But I very much like this kind of promo, and there's like 3 different chapters, or even like 4 different chapters, kind of all wrapped into one. Talked about how maybe AEW is going to get back to that sports like feel, and Samoa Joe is the perfect champion for that. He's a likable enough guy to where people will cheer him against heels, and kind of he can play that heelish role against like a Swerve or a Hangman or whoever, Hook, if people choose Hook over Samoa Joe. So I
Look,
very much like this promo and kind of
I-
all the different branches that have kind of sprouted out of that.
I'm trying to see Hook versus Samoa Joe. I'm
Well,
trying to
you're
see
gonna get that next week on Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen.
for the championship.
Uh, I, I think it is for the championship. I don't know. Let me just make a quick. Let's see.
Is is it for the championship?
Maybe I should have just. I'd probably just
Is
be
it
easier if I just
for
went on
the
Twitter.
championship? All right, I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Anyway, Sammy
Yep, it's for
Guevara
the championship. Can
is for the
confirm next week, Wednesday, January 17th, in North Charleston, South Carolina, presented by the Suicide Squad movie or a video game.
wow, look at that. Sammy Guevara defeated Ricky Starks. Wow.
Yeah, and then Chris Jericho comes out and his music plays throughout. They had a whole backstage whatever brawl for all, and I was wondering, did they just keep on playing the music so that we didn't have any booze? But then they just kept on going. It kind of seemed like it was a gangsta's ECW kind of brawl with the music playing in the background. So maybe it was a combination of the two. Just kind of looking at the crowd seemed very positive towards Chris Jericho, or at least there were people cheering for Chris Jericho and not anyone obviously booing him. So maybe this whole thing is kind of blown over. I don't know, but I think they are kind of noticeably they have not called them Les Sex Gods at all, which I think is probably the best thing for the tag team at this current climate right now. So we have to wait and see. They're gonna have the Battle of the Belts match at on Saturday for the tag
They're
titles,
still doing these?
and this is number 9.
Wow. Uh Strong defeats Keith.
Yeah, just a fine match. It was more of
Is
a
this Brian
precursor.
Keith?
Yes, it is Brian Keith,
Oh my dog.
but more of a precursor to the Adam Cole promo, very similar to what he did last week. Not as, I mean, I don't even think he said MJF's name at all, um, but just very bare bones stuff again. So
Think
I
MJF Brian Pillman it?
I don't know. I think they're kind of buying a lot of time for Adam Cole to get his leg right. And, I said maybe they're going to do the MJF Cole match of Revolution, but it seems as though the MJF situation is much more severe than that. He might be gone almost the entire year, which if that's the case, T's and P's, hopefully he gets well, but that's definitely a blow to the company. And this whole double Adam Cole MJF storyline that they've had, in the works for, whatever, 6-7 months now at this point has kind of bursted into flames. And I'm not all the way out on the Undisputed Kingdom, but we need to really start picking it up, in the next few weeks because they're just spinning their wheels at this point.
The wheels are just turning, yes. We didn't talk about the multi-man match where your boy Preston Vance got the dubski, teaming with Adam Copeland and
The
everybody
Brody
else.
Lee Memorial 8-person tag match that they had on the show.
Yes.
I put it on the script and I kind of took it off because they were kind of like they were just kind of there. But yeah, shout out Preston Vance, shout out Anna Jay, two people, closely associated, former members of the Dark Order, getting the wins in the Brody Lee tag matches.
Is the Dark Order still a thing?
They are still a thing. They actually took over the Be in the Elite YouTube channel. Now it's called Be in the Dark Order.
Well, no, I've seen that, but
It's just a 3. It's just Evil Uno.
Grayson,
What's his name?
Grayson and what? Or is it Evil Uno? Johnny Hungy
Mm-hmm.
and Alex Reynolds, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about Stu Grayson? What happened to him?
Well, he left the company like a year or two ago, and then he came back. But then I think that was just like a one-off. And yeah.
Wow. Okay, my fault. My fault. My fault. My fault. Sting and Darby Allin defeated Hobbs and Takeshita. The Young Bucks return.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things. We got to stop just throwing Darby Allin around. I mean, the way his head smacked that bottom rope was not pretty. Sting, the way his head hit the concrete floor from that avalanche stinger drop or scorpion death drop, not pretty.
Yes, I mean, match itself was kind of whatever, but I think the story of the matches were those 2 bumps. More Sting. They did the scorpion death drop off the stage through 2 tables, which were too close to the stage. They apparently don't know how like physics work, but
Yeah.
Sting they overshoot one table, barely lands down on the second table. Sting like barely covers Hobbs to get the win. You can clearly see him talking to Ric Flair, Darby, and the referee.
Ric Flair was there chopping Hobbs.
Yeah, I was very like concerned for Sting because we've seen this done before. He's doing these crazy things. I just don't know why he's doing this. Like 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, WWE, all the eras of Sting just never did this. And now in his final run in his mid 60s, the man's going to turn 65 like in the next month. He wants to do this. Darby Allin is a terrible influence on this man.
He wants to go out. Woo! He wants to go all out. Yeah, so Tony Schiavone's in the ring with Sting, Darby, and Nate. And he asked
Sting even got up, to be honest.
Right? And he asked Sting, like, who's your final match going to be? Then the Young Bucks show up with some mustaches. And so Greensboro, Young Bucks.
I mean, tickets are flying. They've already sold like 15,000 damn near tickets for that show. And I think the Young Bucks are the perfect opponents for them. If the goal is to just have Sting win his last match, Darby will be there too. So it's not like it's not the rub, quote unquote, isn't going to anybody. I think the Young Bucks are a perfect match for them. They can heal it up, bump like crazy for Sting, have their fun with Darby, have a good match. And, at the end of the day, Sting can get his farewell that he rightfully deserves. So if you're not going to have a, new up and coming heel, it's not gonna be like the Guns or something like that where they can, boast forever they retired Sting. I think the Young Bucks are the perfect kind of foil / people to lose to Sting and Darby.
Yes. All right. The New Japan Battle in the Valley is going on this weekend. San Jose. Brandon, are you going to be there?
At the moment, no. But I'm open to it because it looks like it's a loaded show. It's I know a lot of people were talking about the show last year with Mercedes Moné, but honestly, this show is probably going to be better.
Wow. And it may be. It just may be. I mean, looking at this card, TJP, David Finlay, you have who else is on this? Shakingo,
you're getting Okada. You're getting Okada and Will Ospreay.
Okada Ospreay, TMDK versus Matt Riddle and surprise tag partner. Gabriel Kidd versus Eddie Kingston for the Continental Crown. Oh yeah.
And Gabe Kidd has already kind of said, I don't give a crap about those other titles. I just want the New Japan title. So already just really putting over that Triple Crown Continental, whatever the hell they're calling that thing.
And Team Filthy, Jerome Nelson, Royce Isaacs, and Filthy Tom Lawler going up against Fred Rosser, Umino, and Jacob Fatu.
As I said, stacked lineup. Really good card here.
Yes. I'm happy for Big Oos getting on some New Japan stuff. And then, ladies and gentlemen, Oasis Pro presents a bar brawl before our first show, Solids and Stripes, January 26th. We have a bar brawl this Sunday, Eli's Mile High Club in Oakland, California. Chaos Productions and Oasis Pro are coming together. You can see the new luchador, King Gallo, going up against the last hopeless romantic Loverboy Leo. The Black Panther, Beatrice Domino, has issued an open challenge. Bar Brawl starts at 8 p.m. All the festivities at Eli start at 5 p.m., but Oasis' section, 8 p.m. to 9:30. You never know who else is going to be in the brawl. So pull up, please. Thank you guys so much. You guys know where to follow us. Twitter, Bulletcast, Instagram, The Bulletcast, YouTube channel, Bulletcast, and everything in between. Email us, bulletcast2sweet@gmail.com. iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Spotify, Patreon. We're all over the damn place. Thank you guys so much. As always, be safe and stay
Ain't nobody better. Look. Yeah. Listen to us every time we live in the side. When you turn it on, it's just defining the mind. If you feel it, our opinions is great. When everything we moving now in the state, turn us on. If the feeling is right, every opinion now comes from the heart. No time we move with a part. We on the radio, it's wrestling. Time's aggression. Here is the feeling in the pool. Get the lesson. And if you want to prove it to you now, here's the feeling in the time and everything that we did. Listen to the senators connecting it. Moving on everything that's pronouncing it. Everything we did in the time now with the testament. Here is the feeling when we live on the stage. And everything we do, turning the page. Nobody doesn't like us. The feeling when we move, we are excited. Elite podcasting. I know you like it. Yeah, the Bulletcast. Fearless. The Bulletcast. Fearless. The Bulletcast. Fearless. Elite podcasting. We are. Cast now, fearless.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.
Elite podcasting.